All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in to another edition of Tuesday at 10, where we take time, get together, talk about what's going well, talk about some hurdles, talk about some trials and tribulations in real estate. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule. And we like to get started with some gratitude. We always have to be grateful for everything that we have, this industry that we're in, all of our blessings. So we love to talk about some wins. So we got Mauricio, Daniel, and Josie. Thank y'all for being here. We'll go ahead and start with Josie. Let's get things going. What's going on in your neck of the woods? Some good wins. I know you got some active clients that might be getting you to pull
Yeah,
your hair out, but you're doing okay. Tell us a little bit about it.
no, it's good. Got some first time home buyer clients under contract, which is good. We showed a lot of houses, and the one that, of course, it always works out this way. The one that we think is probably not going to be the one they choose, they chose that one, which is great because it fits everything that they're looking for. So very early in the process, we just got it accepted on Sunday, so in the option period. So we'll see how it goes. And then another VA lead from homes.com came through. So I have him working with a local lender, looking at some houses for that one as well. But yeah, good things going, good things moving. Both are first time home buyers. So a lot of questions, but that just solidifies our value of why somebody needs an agent in their corner.
Isn't that the truth? I sometimes I really wonder how people think that this is an easy process. If you don't understand what we see on a day to day and everything that goes into the back end of closing a real estate deal, we see this stuff every day and it's still a challenge for us. So imagine, so for those of y'all watching out there, we're here for you guys and we're ready to go to the mat for you. We're ready to help you out. So, I know Josie, Daniel, and Mauricio service is paramount for all of us. And, you know, helping people is what it's all about. So awesome stuff, Josie. Good stuff. Glad you got some stuff in the works and congratulations. Daniel, what's going on with you, man? How's
Job.
everything? I like the green shirt, man. It looks nice on you.
Oh,
Normally,
thank you.
normally Daniel's the man in black. People used to call us the men in black at our last company because every time we'd walk into a room, we were wearing usually all black. I mean, y'all know how it is. That's the rock and roll way.
Yeah.
Black on black. So Daniel's bringing some color today. How's it going, Dan? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
It's going well. We I just sent a best and final counter offer on one of our listings. So we'll see if the buyer stays on board or not. And then I have another buyer that just got approved with one of our lender partners, and then another buyer who's in the process of getting approved. So hoping to hear back on their final budget and what we can shop around for. And yeah, we're exploring some new marketing tactics and opening up the hose of, different online buyers that need assistance and things like that. So it's an exciting time. It's a tough market out there, as we all know, but all we can do is keep doing what we do, and keep our head held high. So that's where we are, and just trying to stay busy.
For sure, cool. And I think of the people on the call, Daniel, you're the only one that has little ones, I think, right? Mauricio, do you have
Mhm.
any little ones?
No, sir,
No?
not yet.
Okay, so Daniel, so y'all are in full back to school mode and everything, right? So
Yeah. Oh yeah,
how's
for
that
sure.
going? The kids enjoying it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ariana just started St. Matt's over with Dylan,
All
so
right.
it's nice having one drop off and pick up location instead of two. That makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're enjoying it, and she's been brave, so I'm really proud of her, and Dylan's doing great.
That's
Thanks
good,
for
man. That's good. Well, I wish them a great school year. And
thank you.
Mauricio, how's everything going, man? We'll get into it a little bit later, but maybe you can kind of segue us into it. So, Mauricio, what's going on good in your world? Brand new agent. It's almost like the Agent Chronicles, right? Give us the the play-by-play, and I'm gonna have flashbacks to 10 years ago too, and give you some insight from when I was a new agent also. But tell us a little bit about it, man. What's the good, the bad, the ugly? How's everything going?
Yeah, things are going great. Things are going great. Things are moving along. Had my first open house this weekend, this Sunday. It was great. It's a lot of fun. Learned a lot. Some fun stuff, some not so fun stuff. Putting out signs is fun. Um, may have lost one or two balloons in the process, but it was cool. It was cool. Had two families stop by. Well, one family out from Laredo, um, and a nice little couple that came by. Had some good conversations with both. As I was walking in, and I had the family behind me, the first family with the realtor. The doorknob came off of the front door with the whole family behind me, so that was fun.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, luckily I walked in and let them go ahead and pass by. I don't think they noticed it, but a quick little repair job there. Luckily I had the screwdriver in the truck, and I think we got away with that without too many people noticing on that one. But, that was fun. It was great. It was great. Great learning experience. Learned a lot. Got some content out of the home, and we're going to be promoting it here. So see if we can get some nuggets out of that. I think we will. And I enjoyed it a lot. Like I told you guys earlier, I got my first taste, real tangible taste, and I love it, man. I'm excited for it. I can't wait for some more. I have a lot of notes and a lot of stuff to work on for the next one of how to improve, and I think they're just only going to get better and better from here. So that was a lot of fun.
That's cool. Well, it's a good thing that that happened with you, man. If a doorknob would have fallen off and I was there, I wouldn't be able to fix that, man. I'd be like I
Dude,
gotta call someone, man. This is not my forte. I wouldn't have any tools on me or anything. So I'm
You'd
glad.
call me.
Yeah, I definitely would. I would call Josie and tell her to bring the toolbox and
dude, I was like, this must be a joke. Are they setting me up here? Are they like, is this Ashton Kutcher going to come out and be like, we got you,
that's funny, man.
to date myself a
Like the
little
it's
bit.
like the doorknob that keeps coming out.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's
Yeah.
hilarious, man. Well, cool, cool. And Mauricio and I had a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about it. And every new agent has to get started from their first one, right? Your first buyer, your first seller, your first open house, your first buyer consult, all that stuff. So once you get going and you knock off all that, all the nerves, right? So now you have a better idea, you have a better grasp on what you can improve on for the next one, and they're going to keep getting better and better and better. So
Yeah, for sure.
I give you kudos. Like I was even telling Josie, it's like, man, I give Mauricio kudos. He's just jumping in there, and we try to give you some pointers, and I know Daniel was trying to help you, and then you're just like, okay, man, I'll talk to you at 4:30 when it's over, and
Well,
and
truth be told, Mauricio, I was gonna have you just join me at my open house, but then it's like I don't want you there twiddling your thumbs. You just need to jump in.
Yeah.
for
You need to
sure.
jump in on the fire. Um,
Yeah.
so and we're really proud of you, man. So you
Yeah,
did
thank
great.
you. Thank you guys. No, I do like the way it went. And part of me is always like, well, yeah, it would be great to have a practice run and then, send me out there on my own. But there's nothing like, learning on the job. And I don't think after everything, I wouldn't change it. It went well. Like I said, a lot of lessons that I won't forget, that's for sure.
And now keep
Uh,
that toolbox in your truck, man.
yeah,
You never know what you're
absolutely.
gonna.
Yeah, it was fun. So and I want to thank you guys also for being there, the support. Both of you guys were there that morning to take my phone calls or texts and some of the kind of stuff that came up that morning, and everybody was scrambling to make sure that things went smoothly, and they did. So thank you guys a lot for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure. And we're always you always got to be we're always on standby, right? And I feel like it's one of those things, as much pre prep as you do, there's always one little nuance that can kind of, throw a wrench in it, right? So we always try to be like, even if we have a buyer walkthrough coming up or, closing dates coming up. I remember back, gosh, this was a long time ago. I was mentoring an agent and he would tell me, well, okay, well, we have the house under contract. So do I just kind of sit back and just wait for closing? And it's like,
Mm.
no, this is when you get a house under contract, that's when all the fun starts. That's when all the inspections and due diligence and all that other kind of stuff. That's when everything's just getting ramped up. That's when you're getting ready to start working. You thought you were working, showing and submitting offers. Now you're under contract, so now things really start getting real.
Yeah,
So
I had a
we're always on standby. And like I saw the call come in, I was like, something's going on. Mauricio's calling me. His open house is starting at 1 o'clock. He's calling me at 10:30. Something's askew, right? So we're always there for you, man, if you need anything.
And you'll notice, Mauricio, that it's no secret. They say real estate agents are really firemen in disguise, and but that's what we do. There's always little fires, and we just put them out, put it out, put it out, put it out, and reach closing. So that's the job is, bringing that fire blanket, making everyone comfortable, keeping everyone cool, and getting the job done. So just something to keep in mind.
guys.
So cool. So yeah, I have a, little training that I wanted to run through. I think this will help shed some light on, one of the questions that new agents have all the time is they're getting started. Everyone's telling them to generate business and make contacts, but sometimes they feel like, well, I'm doing all this stuff. What's the next step? How do I have someone interested. How do I even start? So one thing that I want to share, and this is a shareable that I have linked in all of my outgoing correspondence, my emails. I give them out as free downloads. I send them to every buyer lead that I have. And all it is just a blueprint of the process. And I call it the blueprint to keys. So I want to just roll through this. I would recommend, Mauricio, we can help you format one of these for yourself, input your information. We can make it plug and play. And anytime you have someone interested in buying or they want to know the process, you can send them this as a PDF. You can make printouts. Josie has some amazing pamphlets that she's printed out that she gives out to her buyers that are in the process, and she'll actually give them out. It looks like a magazine. It looks really, really nice, really ups your credibility. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll jump into it to kind of give you a background and to give you an idea of what your buyer customers are looking for. This little tool can help kind of answer their questions before they come up, right? Anytime we can handle an objection or handle a question before it comes up, that's always going to be a big help. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. Y'all let me know if y'all can see it. We good? Cool. So this is a little shareable that I share as a PDF. I call it the Blueprint to Keys, a strategic guide to home ownership. And all it gives is a little bit of the play by play. It tells them a little bit about myself, a little bit about what we're going to be doing, and a little bit about the pieces to the puzzle. Okay, so I just tell people a little bit about me, some of my credentials, born and raised in Texas, top producer with EXP, all my contact information. And these are just some snippets of some reviews, try to be honest and want to be a guide in a crazy market. So here's the 5 phases of home ownership. And kind of think about it. Think about if you were a customer, think about if these slides or these documents or however you want to put it, if they would help you. If you're wondering, how do I get started in this journey? Think about it and let me know if there's something that could be better, something I could take out. We're always trying to improve what we're sending out because we want to be strong resources for customers. So the 5 phases of home ownership, number 1 is your finances. We always tell buyers that this is the most important first step. Now, whether or not they heed our advice, that's a different story. But we know we've been through this enough times, and we've shown houses to people, and the ones that always say, "Oh man, I'm not worried about my finances," those are the ones that you need to worry about those finances. Those are always, I always feel like that's always the case. But we never want to show properties that people can't tangibly get. We're not tour guides, we're not Uber drivers, we're not, this is our job. We're professionals. So we want to make sure. So your finances, step one, gather your documents, get pre-approved, and figure out how you're going to make your payments, your down payment, your monthly payment, all the good stuff. Then we're going to start the home search. That's where things get fun. Once we know a good budget, that makes it a lot easier to narrow down what we're going to send in a home search. Once we find a home that they love, we're going to get it under contract. We negotiate the terms, get escrow started, and then talk about when the work really starts. This is when the work really starts for the buyers because a lender can pre-qualify you pretty easily, but once you get under contract, they want everything. Some of our lender partners make a joke. It's like, I need a blood sample, I need your firstborn child, I need everything. They're going to need everything to get you going, and that's when you really start submitting all your loan docs and all that good stuff. Then we're under contract. Now we're going to do our due diligence. Buyer can have the home inspected. You can get some insurance quotes and any kind of other due diligence if you want contractors to go check it out, and we'll negotiate repairs during that due diligence period. Once we get past that, the house is going to go into pending, and then we're just getting ready for closing. So the buyer really needs to keep their finances tight, keep submitting any other aspects that the lender might need, and we're pushing for the clear to close. We want to get good news, hopefully, fingers crossed, on the appraisal that everything came in at value with no conditions. We get the clear to close, we do the final walkthrough, and then we close the deal, and hopefully you have some happy buyers moving into their new property. So phase one, what kind of loan? How does the loan alter your down payment? This is where you're going to want to have a strong lender partner on your team, in your arsenal of professionals. They can answer all of these. We're not lenders, so we have to have somebody very knowledgeable and very trustworthy to answer all these important questions. Pre-approval is good for 30 to 90 days, but you want to wait to get pre-approved until you're fully ready to buy. We need a pre-qualification letter to submit an offer, but it's always better if they're pre-approved. If you don't understand, stop and ask us. We'll refer you back to the lender. So all these different aspects, how does the loan alter the down payment, APR versus interest rate? When am I going to lock my interest rate? And how are closing costs handled? We can help with some of these questions, but again, you're going to want to have a great lender on your team to help. Phase two, search parameters. Josie loves to, I feel like anytime Josie does a buyer questionnaire, they'll say, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-story, with a pool. And then Josie and I get a kick out of it, right? And what do they end up going for, Josie? A 2-bedroom, 1-bath.
Bedroom,
Yeah.
no
Something
pool, like
completely
something
different.
completely different.
Completely different. So, but everyone has an idea. What I really love is when people say, I need something that has at least an acre of land. And then you go show them an acre of land and they say, this is too big. you know, an acre of land is bigger than you might think. It's a lot of maintenance. So you talk about the search parameters, needs versus want. What's important to you? What are you looking for? What are some must-haves? Square foot, bed, bath, floor plan, proximity to work, and maybe what are some of the wants? You can change and fix anything in a house. So never let a buyer get too hung up on, well, I don't like the paint color. I don't like the flooring. I don't like the fence. Whatever it is, all that stuff can be changed. The most important things are location and floor plan, right? Those are the things you could change a floor plan in a house, but that's a major thing, right? So location, lot size, price, spend the most time thinking about these things that are super important. You can change these small things later. Then you go check out the properties in person. You're looking at the wants versus needs list. And Help buyers understand. It's like, remember you told us that you were looking for a big backyard. Wasn't this important to you? Remember you told us you were looking for an open concept. Remember you told us you were looking for a large island. Because sometimes buyers get hung up on something else and you say, hey, this house has four of the five things that were really important to you. So it's our job to kind of rein that in. Okay. Ignore the staging, look past the decor. All of the decor is going to be gone, right? So hopefully they can imagine their life there, right? Focus on the unchangeable, the lot, the location. Never strive to be the priciest home on the block. And then track your impressions. Keep a log of the houses you see, right, Daniel? Sometimes you're out there, if you're showing 9 properties, they all start meshing together. So if you're not keeping track, like, okay, this was one of the favorites, this was something they liked, this was something they didn't like, just keep a note on your phone, keep it going. That way you can help them refresh their memory at the end. That way they can remember what they saw. Now it's time to make an offer. You want to optimize your offer strength. In a market like we're in right now, buyers have some choices, so we can be maybe a little more aggressive with the offer. But you want to think about it. Is this going to be a cash offer? Is it going to be a financed offer? What are the terms? How are we going to come in with price? Are we pre-approved versus pre-qualified? If we're pre-approved, that's going to make it stronger. So think about all these things when you're getting ready to submit the offer. Now you're under contract. This is where the game begins. Okay. Days 1 through 5. You want to get the inspection in there as fast as possible. Josie's working this right now. It's like, hey, we're under option. We need the inspection like yesterday, not next Thursday. That's too late. That's not going to give us enough time. So this is when, that's why I call it the critical window. This is when things really start getting real. Okay. Get everything in for your loan docs, deposit your escrow, schedule the inspections, get a quote from your insurance company, make sure all that stuff is moving. And here's the freeze rule. Buyers need to remember this. Don't change jobs. Don't make big purchases. Don't take out credit applications. No co-signing for cars. No jet skis. No boats. No nothing like that. Keep your finances tight all through the process until the loan closes and funds. Okay, so here's some inspections. People always want to know, well, what is an inspection? How much is it? It's usually between $350 to $450. But we're going to rely on that inspection to negotiate repairs and to negotiate concessions in lieu of repairs if that's what we're going to be asking for. So standard inspection, $300 to $450. Depends if you want to add a termite inspection, if you want to have a sprinkler inspection, if you want to have a pool inspection. Those are all kind of different add-ons. But we have some great inspector partners. So you want to have a good lender. You also want to have some good inspectors on your list, in your arsenal of trusted professionals. Okay, now we're
in. Buddy that's going for school right now to become a home inspector. So
awesome, man. Yeah.
Get, into the field and joins us.
Awesome. Yeah. Good home inspectors are worth their weight in gold, man. Go ahead.
And so is it the buyers that are paying for the inspections in this process?
That's correct.
Okay.
So that's one thing that we want to remind buyers early on is there are some upfront expenses. Okay. Some of the upfront expenses, you got to pay your earnest money, your option fee. Okay. Earnest money is usually 1% of the sales price. Your option fee is usually $10 a day. So for example, on a $300,000 house, the earnest money might be $3,000 and then a 10-day option might be $100. So within 3 days, and Josie, you can tell us what's the countdown within 3 or what's the proper term? When is earnest money due?
3 days after the effective date.
3 days after the effective date. And when is the best time to get the earnest money and option fee in?
Yesterday.
As soon as possible.
As soon
yeah.
as possible.
People like to drag it out. And then the listing agent's blowing you up. Where's their earnest money's due? And, and then it turns into a big hoopla, right? So get the earnest money in quick. So you have earnest money option fee. Then you have your inspections. Okay, now there are some people, some buyers, they want everything inspected. They want a regular inspection, they want a pool inspection, they want a sprinkler inspection, they want a septic inspection or not septic, sewer inspection, sewer scope, and that's cool. They can get whatever they want, but that's going to add to their costs. Okay, so it is a buyer expense to pay for an inspection. Um, and those are the main upfront costs that are going to be required immediately, right? Right when a house goes under contract.
But more often than not, Mauricio, they might spend $500 on an inspection, but from that, we get the inspection report and we're able to negotiate $4,500 worth of work.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe not always that much, but even if it's $1,800 worth of work, it was money well spent to get that
Wow.
inspection done. And you need that inspection paperwork to be legitimate to show the seller, hey, this is what's wrong with it. I'm not saying this is wrong. The licensed inspector is saying it. The
Wow. So
roofer is saying it.
potentially can pay for itself.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
All day long.
absolutely. Yeah, and we always advise to get an inspection. Some people contemplate, well, do I need an inspection or should I skip the inspection? We always recommend, and if they choose to skip the inspection, that's fine. We just want to make sure that they're aware that an inspection is important and we recommend it. And if they want to skip the inspection, there's actually a form that we send them that
Right.
they can verify, hey, we skipped an inspection.
Waiting.
Right. Yeah. Because we
And
want to.
and even if the sale is an as-is sale and the seller has already said up front, I'm not doing any repairs, it's good for the buyer to just see the inspection report to see what they're even buying and to see if they want to move forward with it or not.
Sure.
So it's good to have no matter what.
For sure. For
I would
sure.
say so.
So yeah, we want to make sure that all those things are moving. Now, when we're talking about insurance, again, a good insurance person is someone very important to have on your team because that's going to be an expense. They have their homeowner's insurance. If they need flood insurance, if the house is in a flood zone, they're going to need flood insurance. If they're in an area like we're in here in the Rio Grande Valley, windstorm insurance is important. So they're going to need to know because if they're financing, these insurance expenses are going to be part of their monthly payment. So they might be looking at a principal and interest payment of 1,500, but then you throw on the taxes, and then they might need to be paying two or three or $4,000 a year in insurance. So they need to be able to factor that in. So have a good insurance person that can reach out and talk through that particular property that you have under contract, make sure it's still going to be a good fit for their budget. Now we're talking about after we get all that going, hopefully we can get through the option period. Hopefully everything's good. We've negotiated repairs. Everyone feels comfortable. Now we're pushing for the clear to close. Okay, so having a good TC, right, Josie, is important. Now, Mauricio, you're a new agent, so we're going to want you to do your first 3 transactions front to back, and we'll help you do that. But after that, I'm going to recommend to you that you hire a transaction coordinator because these items here, a transaction coordinator will help you take care and keep track of all this. We need to make sure that there's a survey on the property. We need to make sure that it was approved by the title company. If it's not, then we need to order another one. We want to get all the title docs, make sure the title commitment's in, make sure the buyer has it, make sure they've reviewed it. We need to check with the lender, see, hey, has the appraisal been ordered? Did we get the appraisal in? Is everything good with value, condition? And then you coordinate everything with the lender. Hey, does the buyer have everything in? All the docs, any kind of conditions? Did you do the verification of employment? How's everything looking? So this is what we're pushing for. And once all this stuff gets wrapped up, we get what's known as the clear to close, which we're really close to the end zone. We're not there yet, but this gives us the green light to go ahead and close. So before closing day, we want to do a walkthrough A walkthrough just makes everyone feel comfortable that the house is as they remember it. You can verify that all the repairs that you asked for were done. We're getting to the point to where we are recommending that buyers get a re-inspection after the seller says they've completed the repairs because we have to remember to stay in our lane. That's a big aspect of what we do. We're not contractors, we're not plumbers, we're not drywall guys, we're not foundation people. We can't verify these repairs because we're not qualified, but an inspector can or a contractor can. So we're encouraging now have the house re-inspected. That might be an extra charge. Some inspectors charge, slightly less of a fee for a re-inspection, but they'll go through the repair amendment and they'll say, okay, I'm going to check this. This looks good. I'm going to check this. This might need a little tweaking. I'm going to check this. And then once everything's good, then we have a clear re-inspection.
Do any
Uh,
inspectors include kind of like if you get the inspection done and then you kind of include that there's probably going to be a reinspection afterwards to verify the repairs. Do they like include it as a secondary service or as a continuation or anything like that?
there might be some inspectors that throw that in as part of the package. The inspectors we've been working with lately, they don't have it as a package. They just have it as an add-on. And, like I know one inspector partner of mine, he'll do an inspection for $350. And then if he needs to do a re-inspection, he'll do it for another 150. So it's
Yeah.
a little bit less, you know what I mean? So they can do it as an add-on. I don't know of any that do it as a package. Now, we do have some great inspectors that will do an inspection and they'll include as part of the fee, they'll include almost like a repair price estimator. And it's just an algorithm, program that they incorporate, but they include that as part of their inspection. So that can be a big help to give your buyers, at least a bird's eye view and say, hey, these things need to be fixed. This repair estimator is saying, hey, this might cost 500, this might cost 1,000, this might cost 250, and it'll at least give them a foothold on what some of that stuff will cost. And we'll send you the recommendations for the inspectors that we use regularly that include that as part of their package. Okay, and then the attendees, right? Everyone that's on the contract needs to be there. You need to bring your photo ID. If they're using an attorney, the attorney needs to be there. The closer will be there. And I always recommend that agents go. We go to closings whenever we can because that kind of just ties everything together. We can look over the final settlement statement, make sure everything is accounted for. We can kind of just go back in our memory bank and say, hey, the seller was supposed to throw in 5,000 in concessions. Is it accounted for on the closing disclosure? We just kind of look back on it and make sure everything looks good. So I always recommend going to closing if you can. And plus, it's a lot of fun. You can get the photos. The buyers are excited. We have some great title people. They'll bring out charcuterie boards and champagne and make it a whole shebang. So they make it a nice experience.
Yeah, I
But
hear I hear a little bit about some realtors that don't attend the closing. But, I mean, I don't know. Me being new, I wouldn't dream of not attending the closing. I mean, it
oh
seems like
yeah,
a finish line thing
for
that
sure.
I'm looking forward to the whole time. But I mean, yeah, obviously, maybe sometimes people get busy and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely plan to be attending the closing table.
Oh yeah, man. It's a fun time and I like to get a fresh cup of coffee, sit at the closing table, get some photos of the buyers as long as they're cool with it, get some photos of them signing and nice little mementos to share with them because it's a big deal. And
Hmm.
even if it's someone for an investment property, it's a big deal. Purchasing a piece of real estate is a big deal. So we want to be there to celebrate and we usually take a closing gift for them and we make it a lot of fun and because it really is a joyous time. Now this is another place where a TC can help you. All of these things, there's so many things that happen and people I really think there's a lot of people that forget about these things. All the things after you close. Now I got to transfer utilities, transfer the water, organize the movers. Who's going to do this? Do I, all this other kind of stuff. We can help them with all these pieces, and a transaction coordinator can help organize this. If they need movers, if they need to declutter, if they need to remove some stuff, if they need to get a storage, whatever it is, then now we're getting close. Hey, we need to switch the utilities. I need to switch the power. I need to switch the water. I need to make sure they don't turn the power off on me once the current seller discontinues service. You need to change the address on your banks. Josie and I make it a habit. I feel like we move all the time, and every time it's like, oh my gosh, everything I need to change my address on everything. So people forget about these things. Discontinue your old home service. If you're renting or whatever, discontinue all that. Discontinue the internet. You're moving to a new place. Um, and then, pack an essentials box. Hey, we need some TP readily available. I need some paper towels. I need some cleaning solution. I need some little things that I'm going to use on a regular basis that might not be in a vacant house. So all these little things can help. So this is the end of the presentation that I send to everybody, and I just let people know, hey, I'm here to partner with you in the process. I don't think people should have to do this on their own. There's so many moving pieces, and you need a lot of people involved. And we have people, sellers and buyers, they say, well, I don't need a realtor to buy a house. I say, well, no, you don't. You never have. You've never needed a real. You don't need a realtor to sell a house either. I don't need a dentist to pull my tooth out, right? I don't need a mechanic to fix my car either. I could try to YouTube it, and then I guarantee you my car will be ruined. You know what I mean? I already told you I can't even replace a doorknob. You think I'm going to be able to replace something in a car? No way. So we let people know we're their partner. We're there to partner with them. We're there to help them. And yeah, and so this is what I send. So I've gotten some good feedback from this little document that I send out, and people find it almost like just like a little guide. I guess that's really what it is. It's a buyer's guide. So, make something like this, send it out to everybody. Even if you have people that are renting, they say, hey, whenever you're ready to buy, here's a little buyer's guide. It can kind of lay out the pieces for you. And when you're ready to have a conversation about it, call me. And this costs you nothing. You can email this out for nothing. It costs you a little bit of time to put it together. And, you know, people will have a nice little roadmap to follow.
Yeah, that's great. And this actually
Cool.
comes at a perfect time because, matter of fact, the last 2 weeks of the Fast Cap program went into these processes. 1 week was the buyer's process, and this last week was the seller's process. And this one here went into a little bit more detail about some of that stuff. And for me, this is all great because I, want to hear it repetitive and whatnot. But also too because to bring up another lead that's kind of in the air. My brother that we spoke about before, that's in the market for possibly a townhome. And I
Mm-hmm.
just had a conversation with him this weekend after the open house, matter of fact, about what we talked about, the pros and cons of a townhome and something like that
Yeah.
versus a house. Um, and you know what? He's actually not deterred by any of that stuff. He likes the idea of the townhome, and so it reminds me of what we learned in real estate school a lot about. Real estate is a big part of it is the lifestyle. People want buying the lifestyle. Some people want a house, and some people, like my brother, he wants the townhome. So we went over a lot of those details, and so this presentation here, he's actually ready to. Probably jump on a phone call here with you sometime soon so we can go into a little bit more detail about stuff and also talk to a lender here very soon. So this presentation is going to be great to show him. And then hopefully we can start that process here soon as well.
Yeah. Well, hey, if he's looking for a condo, Daniel's got a condo he's getting ready to put on the market. So, I know he might be looking for a townhome. Townhome a little bit different than a condo, but if he's looking for a condo, Daniel knows a guy. No. Daniel's
Yeah,
giving you.
I may have a buyer on board already, but it's not 100%. So I'll know more in the next 48 hours for sure.
So yeah, and here's one of the things, and Mauricio, we talked about it with townhomes and condos. The big hurdle is financing.
Mm.
So, and that's why going back to this little buyer's guide, number one is talking about the finances. Now, if you have a cash buyer can buy whatever they want. But if you're looking at someone who wants to finance, there are not every townhome can be financed. Okay, so we need to make sure. And then a lot of townhome financing, the last conversation that I had with a lender about a condo or a townhome, they weren't doing anything unless it was a minimum of 20% down for a condo. Now, I know Daniel has had some luck with some lower down payment condos. It all depends on the particular condo complex. If that condo or townhome complex has the proper insurance, then it can open itself up to some more lending possibilities.
Yeah,
But
and there's some specialty lenders that will lend on it, but a lot of times it comes at a higher interest rate.
yeah, it might be a higher interest rate, or they might have a little more stringent of qualifying criteria. So, some of these portfolio lenders, they'll lend on something that's a little out of the box, like a townhome, but they'll say, well, we need a minimum of a, 700 credit score. You need to have 3 months of reserves, whatever the terms might be. There's a lender that'll lend on anything. You know what I mean? As long as you satisfy their terms.
It might be good to link them up with a mortgage broker who has a lot of different lending options as opposed to one bank that they work for. So and we can give you some recommendations for sure.
But cool, guys. Cool. Well, do y'all have any questions or any other comments on anything going on or any kind of Q&A? What else can we help y'all with?
One last question regarding that same conversation. The 800 to 100,000 that we mentioned, you told me about the other day. Is that the full PITI payment? Or
Yeah.
is that
So good question. So what Mauricio was talking about, I was kind of giving him it's just like the benchmark, that I've always used to help people factor in their monthly payment. It's about $800 per 100,000, right? So for a house that's 200,000, the monthly payment might be around $1,600. It's just a range. It's all going to depend on the actual property taxes and the actual property taxes and the actual insurance coverage that they choose. But yes, it is the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Because with most loans, they're going to require your taxes and your insurance be collected and held in escrow. So for most loans, it's not even a choice. You have to have your taxes and your insurance as part of your payment, and your mortgage servicer will make those payments for you because they need to make sure that the taxes are paid and that the house is insured. So that's why it's part of your payment. They make it mandatory that it's part of your payment. Plus, it makes things easier for the buyer. They don't get socked with such a big tax bill at the end of the year and then they have to pay $7,500 in taxes or whatever. That would cause a lot more heartache than having to pay $600 or $700 a month, whatever it might be for their tax bill. So yeah, so where that really gives you an edge is if someone's sending you houses and they say, "Man, I love this house. It's 350,000." Cool. What's a good monthly payment that you'd like to be at? And if they tell you, well, I can't go higher than 1,800 a month, you already know
not
350,000 is not going to happen, can happen. So 350,000, the payment might be, I don't know, 28, 2,900, $3,000 a month.
Yeah, and this is where you have to work closely with your lender because Your lender might say, well, they're good up to 350,000 depending on the taxes. And in another zip code, it might be $9,400 a year, in which they would not qualify for the home that has $9,400 a year in taxes. So, if there's an active buyer that I have that's really interested in a certain area, or a certain property, I'll run that address by my lender and say, hey, can we offer on this or not? And I get an answer with that same day. Yeah, they're good to go because they plug in what they need to plug in to calculate if that buyer is qualified or not with that specific property and that specific property's taxes. So that's something to keep in mind. I mean, taxes vary in different parts of the city. So it just all depends, and that's why your lender is every much your partner as anyone else.
And there are some closing cost estimator apps out there, and I'll share one with you. Some title companies have them, and you can kind of use those to get a baseline for what the payment might look like. Again, it's just an estimate. We're not lenders. We're just kind of plugging in numbers and sending them preliminary reports. But what's the number one question that every buyer is going to have? What's my payment? Yeah, what's my payment and how much do I need for a down payment and closing costs? Right? So we're not lenders, but we need to know, we need to be enough to be dangerous, right? And we need to have our lenders on standby to answer the more in-depth questions, but we need to know a little bit on the surface to at least get them those answers. So there are some closing cost estimators that I can send you. You can plug and play around with them, and it'll give you some more insight to better answer those questions. And the other thing that's cool, I'll send you, I'll send you this app, but there's a monthly payment estimator. So if someone says, I can only pay $1,900 a month, you can put $1,900 a month and it'll let them know, okay, at 3.5% down, FHA at a 6.875 interest rate, we should be looking at houses that are this price. You know what I'm saying? So it'll give you an idea with their monthly affordability. That's what it's called, a monthly affordability calculator. And it'll tell you because their affordability will change if they put 10% down, if they put 20% down, if they put 40% down, they can afford more house. But we need to know, okay, if you're going to go FHA, if you're going VA zero down, this is the price that we need to be shopping at.
But like, let's ask Mac the monthly affordability calculator.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. And I even like to do this online. I haven't done it in a while. It just kind of spurred my memory. But you can go online and make a post and say, "Hey, tell me how much you're paying a month in rent, and I'll tell you how much house you can afford." You'd be surprised at people that are paying 24, 2,500, $3,000 a month in rent. There's a lot of people they're renting 3-bedroom apartments, and they're paying $2,800, $2,900 a month. So we can help convert those people, let them know, hey, buying a house could be on the horizon. So that's a good conversation to have as well. Cool.
Good stuff, man. A lot of great stuff.
All right, cool. Well, anything in closing, guys? Y'all good to go?
Yeah, wishing you guys a great week.
All right,
As well.
have a good one, guys. Thank y'all for taking the time, and we'll see y'all next week.
Oh,
Nope.
real quick, Mauricio, you can go to Sabor off of Wurzbach and I-10 or Medical and I-10 and go in there, let them know you're a new agent. You need to be set up with
The
with
Supra.
your Supra setup. and they'll walk you through how to unlock these lock boxes. You might even want to buy one just to have one. You know, it's always good to have your lock boxes because you know you will need your lockbox. You know, you're just predicting the future, you know. So that way you can understand how those work because I would say like 50% of the listings have those lock boxes. So you have to be equipped with that, ready to go, but they can help set you up in person. That's what I did. I went in person. They helped me get the app going. They showed me what to calculate in there to get it open, how it works, how to take the top off, all that stuff. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, that's on the list of objectives. So I'm hoping to knock that out this week. And Sabor is actually not too far from where I live. So yeah, we could be
Okay,
good.
cool.
Cool. Well, hey, real quick, y'all give me a smile real quick. I'm gonna put it as a thumbnail. Y'all give a all right. Coffee's for closers. Ready? Here we go. One, two. Got it. All right, guys. Y'all have a good week. Go sell something. Have fun.
You
We'll
guys
see y'all
too.
next week.
All
Thanks
right.
for tuning in.
Later,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Thanks, guys.